What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Super glad to have you today. We got some pretty good progress done here on the EJ25. So we got the cam gears on and torque down. We got a fairly decent amount done. I'm pretty stoked on that. Today the focus is going to be on getting the timing set, belt on, and the tensioner here. I've gotta bleed it, and yeah, so that'll be today's video. Let's get started. Okay, small note: before installing your automatic tensioner, being this one here with the pin in it, see it's got this little piston thing. You're gonna want to have to bleed it. So in order to do that, you need a vise, and it has to be, the piston has to be compressed vertically. It cannot be horizontal. That's per the service manual here. So this is the old one that I have. I'm just kind of doing a run through, getting a feel for it. So what you want to do is place the new one in the same position like this one. Apply a little bit of pressure, pull the release pin out right here, and then we're going to loosen it, allowing the rod to extend, and it's going to take about 1 minute or so to extend all the way up. Then you're going to compress it, doing the same thing, taking about a minute, and then decompress it and then compress it again, and that should be enough to bleed the system. You got to be real careful not to compress it too far, because you don't want to damage the cylinder, and you don't want to do it too sporadically so it didn't bleed properly. So I'm going to get to doing that and then install that onto the block, and then we'll be ready to put the timing belt on. Yep. Alright, so it helps keeping this tensioner here loose, so you have a little bit of wiggle room and slack in the belt to get it around these other two cam sprockets. Alright, that's done. Let's get the covers on and move on to something different. Alright, timing belt's on. Everything is lined up as far as timing marks are concerned. We've got lines here, the yellow line there lines up at the top. Same with the exhaust down here. Little arrow right there pointing to where it needs to be. As well as on this side, everything is good to go. Timing marks here. Arrow here is pointing where it needs to go. Now, the timing belt guides, some people don't install them. The motor, when I broke it down, it did not have them, but I'm putting them back on. It just needs to be there in my opinion. It came there from the factory. It needs to go back on. I do not have the correct spacer tool to check the gap, but the manual says that it should be 1 millimeter plus or minus half. I use my digital caliber, and this piece of zip tie measures to be 1.2 mils. So we are within spec. This is going to be my gap. Now let's get to putting the spacers on, and we can button this cover up. Alright, cool. That's gonna be it for the front of the motor, the timing assembly, minus the crank pulley there. That'll probably be one of the last, if not the last, things that I install outside of the clutch and flywheel assembly. So yeah, I believe that's gonna wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can keep up with this build, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.